open up Europe's public services to American companies, which could essentially mean their privatisation. Environmental and food regulations are also in the firing line, possibly leading to an increase in carbon dioxide emissions. It could also flood EU markets with genetically modified foods and allow shale fracking. The EU admits that TTIP could cause unemployment as jobs switch to the USA. And it could see the relaxing of private data laws.
TTIP is a particularly dangerous trade agreement because it's part of what they're calling a new generation of trade agreements. In this case, it's looking behind the border and it's trying to get rid of the regulations, the standards and the rules which stop big business maximising their profits. The big problem is that those rules are some of the most precious standards we have in our societies. Labour standards, food safety standards, food hygiene standards, environmental rules, and that's why there's this massive movement of opposition to these secret deals which are being dealt with completely behind closed doors.
Greenpeace has released leaked secret TTIP negotiation documents that show the US is applying pressure on the EU to weaken European protection laws on the environment and public health. The NGO says that 800 million people will be affected by the TTIP deal and claims TTIP is about a huge transfer of power from people to big business.
The protesters' message is loud and clear. They don't want TTIP. The planned free trade agreement between the EU and the USA is meant to create economic growth.
Die Privatisierung der Demokratie verhindern. Und ich glaube, das ist das, was uns alle eint.
It's not the welcome a US president would hope to receive. But in Hanover in northern Germany, where Barack Obama's heading, there's anger on the streets over the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, or TTIP, between the US and the EU. The trade negotiations have been carried out mostly in secret, but would open up Europe's public services such as health, education and water to US companies. The agreements unilaterally benefit big companies and lobby groups, and ordinary people and their livelihoods are pushed into the background and become a tool for furthering the interests of big companies.
At least 5,000 people marched through the streets of Rome on Saturday in protest against a planned free trade agreement between the European Union and the United States.
Tens of thousands of people have taken part in anti-TTIP demonstrations across the EU. The protests rolled out across 1,100 cities in Europe in a day of action against the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership.
Public services insane! TTIP! No way! Public services insane!
TTIP!
Hands up for democracy!
I said TTIP!
Everybody back!
Action around the UK.
The great thing that democracy does is we civilise corporations. That's what we do. We teach them good manners and how to behave.
International policy, with diplomacy, good social economic people suffering from one side.
One, two, three, four!
We don't want your bloody war!